because we open up by me asking him a very deep question. And it's a question about when someone knows there's a way to improve your situation, but yet they decide to stay in that situation. What's behind that? You know what I mean? Like if you're catching this and you know me, if you're aware of my work and you have diabetes and you know that I've helped many people reverse their type 2 diabetes, why aren't we working together? If you have weight that you want to lose, but you're like, I think I got this, I can figure this out. And you know that there's healthier ways than more unhealthier ways. And you know that I'm all about that. Why are we not talking? Why aren't you working with me or one of our coaches to maximize? Why are you someone who is trying to get people to get healthier just by taking supplements? What is going on in your head? What makes you think the way you think and not realize that supplements are supplements? You lead with real food. We know that food is thy medicine and thy medicine is thy food. We know that there is nothing better than that. But so many people are pushing supplements before food. I find that intriguing personally, because at the end of the day, if we were all on a stage and everyone was able to share their thoughts, their beliefs, no one would be saying that supplements are better than real food. And no one would say just rely on food being delivered. Rely on someone else deciding. At the end of the day, everyone would agree that there's nothing better than you being informed, educated. And that's why when you become a coach, that's so powerful, because we are in a position where we're able to give people knowledge and understanding that they wouldn't otherwise get it. So I take my hat off to those of you who coach, and not just any coach, but those of you who coach the truth. Because there's a lot of people that they're not coaching the truth. They're just coaching codependency and some other lie. So without further delay, listen to this conversation that I had with Brett. There's some good nuggets in there. And I appreciate you. And if you get a chance, go to our YouTube channel, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that bell so that whenever I upload a new video, you can watch it at your convenience.
Author and nutritionist Robert Ferguson. Please welcome Robert Ferguson.
All right, y'all, let's hear it for America's Fat Loss Coach, Robert Ferguson!
Hello, Mr. Brett Hilton, longtime friend, amazing individual. Thank you, man, for making time to share about your journey of going, down 136 pounds from your heaviest weight.
Correct.
Right? From your heaviest weight, 136 pounds. I mean, what was the top number? And now you're at 201?
337.
That's the top number. You're living life at 201. Okay. What is life like when you are 136 pounds heavier than you are right now?
Oh man, it was horrible. I was miserable. I think I was on two blood pressure medications. Back problems, knee problems, foot problems, just about everything you could think of. Get sweating problems.
I mean, you know what I mean? Like, so when you see someone who is obviously carrying around a lot of excess body fat, I bet your heart just goes out to them.
Yes, very much so.
Okay. Well, we're going to talk about your journey, and I put it on Facebook. I said I was going to interview you, and it's fascinating. Quite a few people gave me some questions to ask you.
Okay.
But before we even go there, I work with you as your coach.
Yes.
And as I posted on Facebook, when you were ready to drop the rest of the weight, I remember you said, well, do I have time or would I coach you? And I said, of course, I would love to coach you. I've known you for 30 years. And a lot of times, I know people longer than that, Brett, family members, and they're struggling with their health. They're struggling with their weight. They ain't called me. They ain't asked me. I have friends who are watching this interview and they could use some help, but they're not calling me. So I want to start there. You actually asked me when I'm watching so many other people just stay quiet? Why? I mean, what you're different compared to the majority of people.
It's hard to put the finger on it, but it's one of those things where I think it's that I finally did it. It's a matter of procrastination, and a lot of people procrastination. I was wanting to do it for many, many years. So yeah, I'll get around to it. I'll do it. And something changed in February of last year. I thought I had diabetes because I'm a little bit of a hypochondriac.
Okay, I remember that.
But yeah, but because of the way I was feeling, but after getting the needle stick thingies, I didn't have high glucose. So I was kind of amazed at that. But anyways, that was kind of scary because of the way that I was feeling. I think it was more anxiety and uh, stress that I had going on in my life that was giving me those feelings. But I was in the point where I need to do something. And same thing, every time I would go into my doctor, because I would have to go in at least once a year for a physical, but it would be the same story over and over again. A lot of these things would have help you, like your lower back pain, your foot heels of your feet, or the balls of your feet pain. Once you got some weight off there, all of those things are going to change and they're going to make a difference. Same thing with your gastrointestinal. Once you lose some weight, the problems that you're having there, those are going to change. But of course, I procrastinated and said, oh, I'll do it tomorrow and I'll do this and do that. But was able to successfully get on the ball and do it this time.
Yeah, but again, it's one of those things. Okay, so we have a Facebook group which you're part of, and there are people who they watch me post and share your story, other people's story. I recently interviewed, Betsy Abel, who had a fasting glucose of 300. Now she's no longer diabetic. She was on blood pressure medication. Now she's not. She was taking statins for cholesterol. Now she's not. She dropped 30 pounds of excess body fat, and she's thriving. And when I share a story like that, anyone who has a similar situation, you would think they would go, oh, I'm gonna call Robert. I'm gonna email Robert. I'm gonna get with one of the coaches. And like you said, you allowed a lot of time to go by before you reached out to me because you know me.
Yes.
And that's when I'm wondering, like, what's stopping these people from asking for help when they can see that we're helping people without meds, without avoiding carbs, without the frustrations of feeling like you're on a diet. But you did. So that's why I wanted to go there first. I was like, okay, you made the decision. Maybe you'll share something, Brett, that will help other people go, you know what? Damn it, he's right. I'm gonna reach out to Robert. I'm gonna reach out to somebody.
Yes, it's one of those things that you could say, you've done it and you've lived it, so it's living proof that it can be done and it can happen. It just takes time. There's other things in this world that happen, and other tendencies that we have or habits that we get into, that they don't happen overnight. And I think that is the biggest problem in this day and age with your health, is everybody wants it to be done tomorrow. And when they don't see the success in 1 day or 2 days or a week or 2 weeks, it's never going to happen. Right. Whereas, if you can just say, hey, why don't I go 3 months and see what happens? Why don't I invest some time and say, I'm just going to stick to it and I'm going to do this. I'm going to, and the interesting part that's to me is so funny, because I think I also had the fear, just like you said, the fear. It's like, it's not possible. You can't do it where I'm going to be hungry. I'm going to be hungry all the time. I'm going to be hungry. I'm going to be hungry. And that was the most shocking thing to me, is because, I've lost weight in the past on the diet-free life system. But why did I jump back into the thing knowing, oh, well, I just can't do it. It doesn't satisfy me, or I have to eat these things to get the satisfaction in my body. And I just know I can't do it with those things. And it can be done. And I think the fact that you have so much invested and so much time now, so many years that you've done this, that there are so many options. And it's not, you can't just eat ice cream or potato chips. It's not possible, but you can eat something that's going to satisfy you and give you that thing. And if there's people that have severe stuffing and more of an addictive behavior, then I think, me personally, and maybe that's one of the reasons that it helped me. I had a life coach that wasn't necessarily psychotherapy or a psychologist, but in a way she was, which I worked on myself. I started developing better attitudes that I can accomplish things, I can get things done. And so I think it's one of those things in the mental attitude. And I was so amazed that I just couldn't believe it, because I ate so many cookies. That was my thing, cookies and ice cream and fast food.
Right. So
And
you're talking about that's how you gain the weight.
yes, or how I sustained it for many, many years of
right.
almost 300 pounds.
Right, because the goal that I have is to talk about the journey to losing the weight, not how you gain the weight, but how you lost the weight and what you went through. Right. So my questions originally are, there are a lot of people sitting there watching this video and they will do nothing. They will not email, they will not call. They can hear you talk about losing 136 pounds. Okay, but they will do nothing. But you did something. You called me. So my thing is, what could you say if there's something to say, and we can move on and go into these questions that people submitted. But what could you share with someone who's sitting there watching on Facebook, watching on Instagram, watching, listening? Oh, wow. Betsy had fasting glucose at 300. Mine is like 160. Wow, hers is normal now. I'm just going to keep watching. Oh, wow, Brett lost 136 pounds. I'm just going to keep watching. I ain't going to do anything. You know what I mean? Like what gets a person to call? Because when you called, I responded and we got started. Do you follow me?
Yes.
That's all I'm saying. Now, if there's no words, then you can share it and get someone to actually take action. Like I was just on the phone with a lady that I worked with a while back. Her husband just found out he has stage 1, challenges with his liver, his kidneys. It's not looking good. So of course, like you, people go into panic mode. Oh, I got to do something. And then they call. So she reached out. She knows I'm going to tell the truth. And I share with them, hey, this is what I believe. This is what I would recommend. This is how we can take the next steps. And now we'll find out if they do something, or maybe they'll just sleep on it and not do anything. So what made you call me? And I know you know that the methodology works. You had done it in the past. But what could you say or share for those people who are just watching us talk about it and they will continue to do nothing?
Invest in yourself. And give yourself the motivation that you can do it. It can be done. I'm living proof. I'm a walking miracle. It can be done. It is possible. There are other people out here that are struggling just like you, and we can work together. We can share. We can lift each other up. That you will have challenges, but you can overcome those challenges. We can overcome anything. We can overcome any possibility in this world. Any challenges that you have, they can be overcame. And anything that you have learned can be unlearned. Any habits that you have, any of your misconceptions that it won't work, those things you can retrain your mind. And it takes an investment in yourself, and to say, I'm going to do this for me. This isn't for my partner so that they like the way that they are not happy with the way that I look. It's, I'm going to invest in me. I am important to myself. Wow. I am a good person. I love myself, and I want to do this for me, because I know I can do it and I can be happy.
Okay. That was a great answer, Brett.
Thank
No, I'm serious. Like, I'm not being sarcastic, because it leads me to like one more before we go into the questions that people want to hear from you. They want to hear your answers to some questions that we have, about 5 or 6. But here's one of my challenges that I continue to run into. And, I know you're in training, you're going to start coaching and helping people, which I think is amazing. Same as Betsy. And I would love to hear your feedback on this. So what happens, I'll have someone that I'm coaching. And when I coach people in the beginning, as you know, I like to make contact weekly. And then eventually we make contact every 2 weeks. And we can keep it there, or it could be like once a month. But knowing that they have a coach call, that's the built-in accountability.
Correct.
But my question to you, and I would love your thoughts on it, and anyone, I would love to hear your thoughts on it, is after a while, these clients, they don't schedule their next call. They start to almost ghost me, as the young kids would say. And when I've talked to them about it, they'll say, well, I didn't have any good news to report, so I didn't call. I go, that's not why you call a coach. It's not always about celebrating victories. It's about having a conversation, having that doctor that will communicate with you, and then making some adjustments. But a lot of them, they quit booking their calls, and they fade. And next thing you know, I get an email or a phone call. I got some things going on. I'm going to stop. So what they're really saying is, I'm giving up on me. That's how I see it. Because I didn't call them and say, hey, I'm done. You haven't lost weight in a month. We're done. Right? I don't do that. So what's your thoughts on all that?
I think it's this world, and once again, it's that investment in investing in yourself, and knowing that it's one of those things that I think the most important thing that I could say that I've learned, especially, and I might be very guilty of this, but I think I have a little bit more benefit because we're close to each other in mile distance ways. So I've seen you more, is that, maybe I do have something, or, don't want to step on the scale, or it hasn't changed. And it's like, so, but it's then one of the things that I've learned or seeing you and hearing you talk to your other clients, or seeing the videos that you post online, is the education. Because then I go, oh my God, I didn't know that. And I almost, I completely change things that I'm doing, and the way that I'm eating, because it's not that I was so dependent upon the way that this thing tastes or the way that it was, but I wasn't paying attention. I was kind of grabbing it, says, hey, this is good for you, grab it. But then now you come out and have a video or something that says, hey, maybe you want to check something and look at this, and see if these things, and if you have any of these side effects that are caused by, say, oils or things like that possible inflammations. And you might go, actually, what about that? That's the type of peanuts or whatever that I'm eating. So why don't I get some organic ones, and then see if there's a difference. And you know what? The taste really isn't any different. They taste the same.
Right.
So it's like that education is invaluable to me. It's invaluable, and knowing those things, and continually learning and wanting to learn. I think that the education part is so important. It's one of those things, because what it does, it allows you to have that foundation inside of you that can know. And a lot of the times I think people get into this thing where they're like, oh, I got to tell everybody about this now. But don't do that. If people see you doing, and you're changing, and you are happier, and you're feeling better, and your life is becoming great, and they're going to see it, and they're going to ask you, and you're going to say, hey, well, look at that that latte you're drinking. Do you know how much sugar's in it? And they'll be like, oh no, my blood sugar is real high. Of course it's high. Look at what you're drinking. So things like that. And it's You know, it's one of those things that when it comes to the point, I think the proof is in the pudding, that people can see it. And it's almost like, for me, it's almost like a hidden, it's too hard that, you know, what I do a lot is I say, it's a magic pill, or, you know, I'm taking a magic pill, and they go, oh, really? And I say, nope, I'm eating right and I'm exercising. So it's, and
Right.
they're like, oh, really? It's not possible. It's
Which
not
one?
possible.
Okay, so here's one of the things that I like to just be really clear, and I would share this with you as a client as well as a coach. When you've lost 136 pounds, and let's say at this moment in time you're exercising, you got the eating down. When someone says, "Oh man, so like, how did you do it?" And you go, well, I'm exercising. What happens is people go to what they're doing now,
Yep.
and they forget to share the journey. Like, well, I didn't exercise for the first 6 months.
Correct.
Oh, really? Now that will win a person over because you're really sharing with them your experience and they can relate to that. Whereas when people have lost weight and they're jumping up and down playing basketball, people are like, oh, I can't, because their mind goes right to, no, that's too much, without
Exactly.
understanding that there was baby steps. Okay. Well, good. Thank you, Brett. Let's jump into these questions because people want to hear your answers to this, right? And
Great.
and let me just preface by saying there are people who are losing, have lost 136 pounds doing keto. There are people who have
Yes.
lost 136 pounds with Weight Watchers and Jenny Craig and Nutrisystem and food delivery and all these other. So there's a lot of ways to lose weight. But you lost weight eating real food, not feeling deprived, what I refer to as a diet-free life. And that is the big difference. So yes, you can lose weight eating licorice. You can do an alcohol diet and lose weight. But what is it like? Is it something that's sustainable once you lost the weight, that it really is your lifestyle? And I believe you're doing that. So I just wanted to say that up front. So we had a few people that basically said, hey, good job, Brett. Woot, woot. Congratulations, Brett. However, the first question is from one of my childhood friends on Facebook. His name is Sean, who's a very smart, intelligent, amazing person. He's always been that way. And big shout out to you, Sean. He says, congratulations, Brett. What was your biggest challenges after you began your transformative journey? Ooh, that's a good one.
I think it's a pretty easy one, and it's the biggest one that that you were just talking about was the exercise. I am not somebody who is a big advocate of exercising. So in the last year, you were probably correct. Probably the first 4 to 5 months, I did not exercise. I just ate well. And it was one of those things that say, yeah, you know, Brett, you probably would speed up on the numbers, even though, hey, great, you're dropping weight, you know, that's great. You're not eating the fast food anymore, and you're dropping the weight and you're feeling better. But if you were to walk, you know, start off, just like you said, baby steps, start off and go up the block and come back. And then the next day, double that. The next day, double that. And just see if you can do it. And then if you miss a day, to go back the next day and just try to do it. And that's what I did. And I became successful at that. I started increasing my walking and got up to about 4 to 5 miles a day.
Wow.
And I'm just starting to re-exercise again. So once I got to this point, I was able to still keep the weight off by the diet, because I have some foot problems, and which are getting better. So I've started walking again, and it was really nice to look on the step counter and to go, wow, I haven't seen those numbers in a long time. Even though I'm not obsessively looking at the counting steps numbers, but it was nice to see that. And that to me is a victory in itself. And for me personally, I like that. I like to be able to go, that I know if I've done that many steps or whatever, that I can feel accomplished.
Okay.
And
See, Well, I like your answer from the standpoint of if anybody's really listening to you, they can realize, okay, you don't have to go from 0 to 100 miles an hour. You don't have to just jump right into the gym and like got trained. I mean, and you're killing yourself, which a lot of former athletes are that way. And my friend who's an athlete, right? We were athletes as kids growing up. They had that mentality where it's like, jump in. Whereas I'm more of like with you, let's take some baby steps. Belinda submitted a question. She says, what would you say, Brett, is the number one contribution in helping you lose the weight?
What would I say was the number one contribution to helping me lose the weight?
Yeah. Like if you had to pick one thing that helped you lose the weight, what would it be?
I would say my coach.
Exactly.
And the accountability. Yes.
Yeah.
And getting to the point where it was like almost it kind of became fun because I didn't like it so much in the beginning of taking the pictures of everything that I did, but then it became more fun over time. And I don't know if you paid attention or not. I tried to become more artistic in my
no, you did great.
Of my food.
you did great. That was good. That was good. That was good. Okay. And so, and for those clients, and that's why it goes back to what I asked you earlier. I had these clients, and for some reason, if I made coaching free and they had to check in with me every week, a lot of those people would give up. They would stop. They would stop. So it's not about money. So it could be $500 a month. It could be $50 a month. It could be $1. It could be free. And people give up on themselves.
Correct.
I'll never forget. I had a client. I helped her lose about 260 pounds. And I remember the third time I worked with her, I said, you will give up way before I will. So that means if you don't give up, I ain't giving up. Because I like to win. And you as a client, Brett, you're like, I have another client named Linda Jackson. Like, you guys just ran with it. Like, you guys just, for whatever reason, some people just do everything. They don't question. They just like embrace it and run. And you were that client, and then you developed and became more creative. Yeah. So you were like a great client. Okay. Sandy Silver, she says, what was Brett's go-to when he wanted to eat junk? Ooh, that's a good one.
Del Taco.
So you had some Del Taco moments.
Are you saying during
as you were losing the weight, or even right now? It's your lifestyle. I mean, you know how to make fat burning meals, but as she says, like, what is your go-to when you want junk? When you want something that's like, is not the healthiest thing, what does Brett eat?
Big Mac and fries.
Ooh, Big Mac sounds really yummy.
And I mean, that's a boost meal.
Right? Which is a boost meal.
Okay. No onions.
Sherry Hargis, she says, what did Brett do when he was hungry and it wasn't time for a meal or a snack?
What did I do? Just like you said, that a lot of the times I didn't really experience it. I know a lot of people have more problems with it, but I think the reason I didn't experience it is because I am a sweet person. So that is another thing, that not all of us are exactly the same. So if you are a savory person and you like the very savory things, that is your go-to, like potato chips or the gravy or something like that is more savory. It's a little bit of a different thing, because for me, I'm a sweets person, so I could eat fruit. And I was amazed. I mean, I still love strawberries and blueberries after a year, and I love it. And it's nice when you get ones that taste good.
Mhm.
But then I also switch it up. I eat pears, I eat bananas, I eat yeah, but the sweet that I was just amazed. For me, I couldn't believe it because I don't think even previously in the long time ago when I did the program that I don't think, and I had a different coach, that berries were part of her teaching to me, or that was something good. So it was just amazed that I could do that. And so I eat lots of strawberries and lots of blueberries, and they satisfy my sugar craving.
Hey,
The hands down. Same thing in apple. Apple will do it.
okay. Thank you. Cynthia, it's one of my clients and dear friends. Cynthia French. She's amazing. She
Oh,
says,
could I add one more?
oh yeah.
Grapes. Lots of grapes. Those are the perfect thing for when I have the hunger. I mean, I can eat 3 or 4 of them, and that'll take care of it. Because
You want
I
to know,
want
like,
something sweet.
it's like I'm with you. Like, I grew up, I love grapes, and my kids like grapes. So when I buy grapes, like if you were at my place right now, you would see that in my freezer, I have at least 2-3 little Ziploc bags of about 30 grapes, and I keep them in the freezer. So if I'm watching a movie or I'm staying up a little later than normal, I just go inside the freezer. I grab my little Ziploc of about 30 grapes, and I sit down and I suck on them and then eat them. And it takes time and it's very satisfying. And I've been doing this for like 20 years. So I don't know if you've ever done that or if I ever shared that with you, but that's one of my go-tos.
Yeah, I know that. Actually, I know I've had other people have mentioned that's very popular, and yeah, that as almost as a dessert.
Yeah, I mean, it's great.
Yeah.
It is absolutely amazing. So, okay. So we're going to go on to Cynthia's question. She says, Brett, how do you maintain your motivation for diet-free living and exercise?
How do I maintain my
Yeah, how do
motor?
you stay motivated, Brett? Because you're obviously, a lot of people lose weight, and within 2, 3, 4 months of getting to their goal weight, they gain it back. You seem to be like really embracing a lifestyle. Where's the motivation coming from?
It is I would say once again something that I'm doing a lot of work on myself and my outlook of life and the wanting and the need to improve my life in other areas as well as the diet and exercise, but staying motivated for it is just I have a goal. I still have a goal. I still want to lose another 20-25 pounds to be where I'm at. That is my goal.
Wow.
I still want.
So what you want to get down to what, about 180?
175, 180, and then
Wow.
yes, and
Okay,
then
Brett.
I know that will be, and the interesting thing that if you want to touch on this is that is so crazy to me because I am 5'11", and so by the government body mass index, I should weigh between 145 and 175.
Yeah, we're not even going to spend time on that because the body mass index, for those of you who have never heard this, is absolutely horrific. It is not accurate. It goes back to 1830s when it was created, and that's a whole nother topic. But body fat percentage is important. And Brett, when
Yes.
you're at that weight, I think we're good. Okay, we got 2 more questions. Gail Lucas, great lady. She says, what was the hardest part of losing 136 pounds?
What was the hardest part?
Yeah.
Walking in that door and what was it? Taking my shirt off, or I'd say I wasn't embarrassed about taking my shirt off, but walking in that door, or the most difficult part was seeing myself and not liking what I saw. I think that was the most difficult part, that what one of my motivations. And so there was a lot of times where I didn't look at myself in the mirror, as far as like my body. If I obviously you got to look at your face, but don't look anywhere down here. So
See,
I think,
sorry to interrupt. I'm just saying, I've heard that from many men and women, like where they will actually take a shower and never really look at themselves in the mirror. They don't want to see it. Or when they're being intimate with their partner, the lights are always dim because they are really conscious about how they look. And you know what I mean? Like, so I totally get that. I've heard that many, many, many times. And it takes a person who's very humble to be willing to say that out loud. So that says a lot about who you are as an individual. And I believe it was your humility that reached out to me and says, hey, I'm ready to get this weight off.
correct. And I think I can think that probably the most difficult thing was preparation, because I think that is something that a lot of people deal with. And it is the most difficult of going, being prepared and making your own food, and then also making the correct choices if you do decide to go out where food is being provided for you. But taking and making your own food is I mean, it's the key. I think it's one of the biggest parts that it's almost a given. It's if you want to be successful, because you have to be prepared. Now, see, that doesn't and so what I'm trying to say is that getting busy in your life is, oh man, I just can't get to the store. And then it's like, oh, okay, now I'll just grab some fast food. I'll grab a burger. I'll grab this. But when you've got the food there and it's there, and then you're famished and hungry, it's there. And so making the choice and being that is, I don't find it that difficult anymore, because I'm just doing it. I'm prepared. I don't let it go more than one day. It's like I don't run out. I will always be like one day ahead, prepared. So that was the most difficult.
All right, we got one more question, Brett. Dan, very resourceful guy. I consider Dan a friend. He's a client, and he's made a lot of progress. Smart, really smart person. So Dan, thank you for this question. He says, how did Brett navigate family outings and holidays, especially when people push food on you? You know what I mean when I say that, right?
Yes.
What's your answer, Brett?
How did I navigate it?
Yeah,
Personally, is I think because of where I'm at right now, and knowing that I can have that little bit of a cheat, and what we call a boost meal, and as long as you continue most of your time sticking with the food that is healthy for you and is going to keep you in a great state of mind and body, is I obviously don't overindulge. I have a little tiny bit. I eat a piece, or it was amazing that at Thanksgiving I felt like I ate too much, but I really didn't. In comparison to when I was heavy, I probably would have had 2 or 3 helpings, but it's just portion control and being able to say no, or just take a little bit, not take a gigantic cookie, or just take a piece of the cookie, things like that. Those are things that allowed me to navigate. I haven't dealt with too many over the holiday season, and most of the time the parties that were there this year, it's funny because I was like, I'm one of the only people that was eating the good for you stuff. It's like all the bad for you stuff, the jellies and the jams and the cookies and the crackers and the dips, those are all torn apart and all tore up on the table, and the veggie tray is sitting there like it's still brand new, and so I'm getting veggies out of there. And not that I feel like it's like, oh my God, I'm gonna eat veggies. I don't like it. It's like, how come nobody's eating these? Only me. It's like I enjoyed it. I wanted the veggies, so they were there at least so that I could balance it out and balance my portions out. You get my correct portions of food that I wanted to eat, and just not go too crazy. Just not eat overly crazy, and then rather than binging on leftovers, do my whatever I would regularly do for breakfast, lunch, and then say, hey, if we leftovers at dinner, but then make it a fat burning meal. Nope.
Right.
Did it.
See, I'm with you. Like when I go places, like when I was in Indiana, I went to Thanksgiving, and there was an interesting moment where we're in the living room and there's people at the table eating, and then you have the kitchen. So there's a good amount of people, mostly my blood relatives. And there's probably 6 or 7 people in the house that are type 2 diabetics, right?
Mhm.
So out of nowhere, because my mom just says things like, where'd that come from? She goes, and they call me Lawrence, so I'm going to change it and go Robert. My mom goes, hey, you guys know Robert has helped people reverse their type 2 diabetes. And the room gets quiet, right? And then my uncle, who's a type 2 diabetic, makes a comment. And then there's his friend who's with him is type 2 diabetic. And my mom goes, oh, I didn't know you were type 2 diabetic. She goes, yeah, so how do you do that? And when I went to answer or share some information, my uncle kind of interrupted me because he had a question or whatever. And then I never got to answer it, but not one person came over at any time. And since then, and asked me, how did you do it? So in my mind, Brett, I'm sitting there going, okay, if I could help someone, and all they got to do is like ask, and then they can give them the answers and we can coach them and show them. They don't even have to be diabetic. But no one, and this goes back to how we started this whole conversation. People just sit still and do nothing. And I know that fear is probably part of it, or they have an assumption of what it's going to be like because they don't know. And as you've shared, and what you can still eat amazingly and have all these great foods and get these amazing results. So at the end of the day, it comes down to knowledge. They don't have the knowledge, the know-how. And that's why you get a coach. That's why you work with me or one of our coaches to get the know-how. It's not more money. It's the know-how.
Yep.
So anyway, I want you to make comment before we close on one thing. I'm curious. So you guys, inside of our methodology, we have, when you make a meal, we call them fat burning meals. And when you eat a snack, we call them fat burning snacks. So there's a classification there. And then we encourage people to have boost meals at least once a week. So a boost meal is not what you would eat on a regular basis if the goal is to lose weight. But a boost meal, we have people do it because it helps keep the metabolism efficient. And I'm not going to go into the science of that, but Brett, share with those who are listening what your boost meals look like as you went on and lost a total of 136 pounds. What is a Brett approved boost meal?
Well, like I said, the one that you mentioned there is the Big Mac with fries, or also would be here in California, the Habit. So the Habit charburger with cheese and fries, or I've done the Mexican one. I really am not doing so much that anymore, but like a boost meal would be like some chicken flautas and beans and rice.
And,
So
what about your shrimp? I know you like coconut shrimp, right?
No, deep fried shrimp. Yeah, so like birthday deep fried shrimp, and once again fries, and then also in that mix, which is great, is they have grilled vegetables with that. So where I get it at. So.
Well, I guess I never really heard you, like you and I have a fry thing. I love fries.
Yes.
Like that's one of my go-tos is fries. and I don't eat them that often, but when I do have them with my boot, because I have a boost meal too, I enjoy my fries. So you and I got that down. So for those, to put this in perspective, you have a lot of people saying, well, if you want to lose weight, you got to intermittent fast and quit eating. If you want to lose weight, you got to stay away from the carbs. If you have not paid attention, Brett is eating coconut shrimp, deep fried shrimp. He's eating the Habit. I'm assuming you go to In-N-Out occasionally.
Yes.
And have the burger and the fries, includes the bread with the fries. He's sharing with you that he has occasional Big Mac with fries.
And Robert Ferguson approved Kind bars.
Kind bars, yeah.
Wonderful.
So, I mean, if I was sitting at home, seriously, and I was going, man, I got to lose this weight. And I hear a guy like you sharing, I mean, yeah, I eat fruits. I do eat vegetables, but I also eat gravy, and I also have Big Mac, and I've been able to drop 136 pounds. Why would you not call me right now? I don't. That's the part that with human, and I've had a ton of training around psychology my entire adult life. And I still am dumbfounded that my phone is not constantly ringing. Any last words, Brad?
Yeah, it can be done. Don't try this quick fix BS. And, if you're so heavy that they're putting you on this and putting you on that, that is not good. You can do it. You can accomplish this. It is possible. It's not impossible. I mean, don't want to get into philosophies about medicine and so forth, but they make those medicines, I think, a lot too, because they're trying to keep you alive, because they don't have faith in you. You can do it. You can change your life, and you can amaze the doctors. And some of the stories that Robert has given that are just so wonderful about that, of where now the doctor comes to him. How is this possible? How did this person stop taking this drug and that drug? And I most of the time people are doing this their whole life, and how is then they come to him to get the education, and then pay him. The doctors are paying Robert. So if that gives you an idea that doctors come to him and do it, and come to the coaches and say, how are these people losing this weight? And they want to be educated so that they can recommend diet-free life to their patients.
Right. The humble doctors.
Yes, yeah. Correct.
So humility, as you know, we both are martial artists. And as a martial artist, and this will be my last words, what I've learned is the most humble martial artists are the most effective martial artists. If you look at warriorship over the years, whether you're looking at Shaka Zulu or Miyamoto Musashi or Sanzu, who I consider a warrior, who wrote the book, not the Book of Five Rings, but The Art of War, they acknowledge humility. And when I spent a ton of time in the world of rape and assault prevention, which Brett was there with me 30 years ago, one of the number one things that I noticed with women that stopped them from experiencing restoration in their lives is that they would not ask for help. So there's something that blocks people from asking for help. I don't know exactly what it is, but I do know that when you ask for help, that is a sign or a demonstration of strength, because we can't all know it all. And so it's okay to have a coach. It's okay to ask for help. And you, Brett, when you began this journey, you asked for help.
Yes.
And now you're not walking around with that big old head and face.
Yeah.
Because I don't even know if you remember this, but I saw you at a Starbucks one morning, And I think that's when you were at your heaviest weight. And you were working a lot. And I remember, like, because I didn't know it was you. And your skin was so tight.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, your skin was like, I was like, you like, okay, and I'm not being mean or rude. You know that. I love you. But it's like you could have just exploded. And then I saw it was you, and you were beginning your day with your morning Starbucks. Like, what did you get back then, Brett? What would you buy at Starbucks?
What is it? The biggest one with the triple ad shot.
Now, did you get like a brownie or
venti with 2 ad shots?
Okay, did you get a carrot cake muffin? Like, did you get any food with that?
Donut every time.
What?
Donut. Donut every time. Yeah.
And that's how you started your day.
Correct. Or a bacon with Gouda and a donut. and the coffee.
Well, there you have it, people. If Brett can do it, he's encouraging that you can do it. And
I haven't had a donut in a long time.
Yeah, donuts are interesting. Yeah, that's another. We have to do a part 2 of this, Brett. But I believe you inspired people. It's amazing what you've done. Congratulations. I'm happy to know you. You know that. And,
yes.
Let's never go back, Brett.
I don't want to, no. I only want to go forward. And I think that's a big thing for a lot of people too, is that a lot of people have a hard time, not looking back. It's almost it is almost an addiction thing. I think that it's, you cannot go back in time. You cannot keep reliving those thoughts that you have. Once you make progress, you can move forward, and you keep moving forward. And if you have a misstep, then you can say, you know what, tomorrow I'm going forward, and then this day is over, and there's only the future, or only this moment, and I can do it.
All right. Thank you, Brett. I appreciate you, man.
All right. Thank you.
All right, you guys. If you want to contact Brett, I'll make some of his information available. Brett is a very honorable individual. He's an awesome human being, and I appreciate you making time to share part of your journey with us. And we'll definitely revisit this and share more things. Cool?
Yes, thank you.
All right. Until the next one.
All right.
Peace.